Hello and welcome to episode 158 of Daryl Show Your Work. All right, so continuing on with the overall theme of clearing our tracks, once we've compromised a target host and we've done it, achieving whatever objectives we've come to achieve. In this video, I'm going to be focusing specifically on how to do so when it comes to Linux-based hosts. All right, but I'm gonna take a different approach in this video. So instead of just wasting time going through another redundant file deleting process, showing how we can remove files from a local host, I want to show how we can then erase our command history here within Linux. All right, so taking a different approach, not going to be exactly the same as I did when it came to clearing our tracks when engaging with a Windows host, but nevertheless, it'll help in terms of covering our digital footprints once we are ready to exit these systems. Okay, so since I'm going to be taking us through the whole recon and exploitation, post exploitation phase of things, and I'm even going to be doing discovery in this video. I'm going to preface it with my usual disclaimer by saying that this is for educational, research, and ethical purposes only. Any sort of malicious activity that may directly or indirectly come from someone watching my video, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right, so to start off, again, I'm going to start off with some discovery here. So let's find out what my IP address is. So I'm going to say ifconfig. All right, so since I am using the Ethernet 1 interface here, my IP address is 192.240.66.2. All right, so I'm going to copy that down. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to conduct the ping sweep with my local subnet. In order to do so, I'm going to provide it with my CIDR address. And what that's going to do is going to send ICMP packets to ping all the machines located on my local network here. Whoever's up and running is going to respond back to me. All right, so the mechanism I'm going to use to do that is fping. So I'm going to say fping -a -g, and then I'm going to paste in here my IP address and just modify this 2 at the end to a 0 /24 to represent my CIDR address. All right, and as usual, dot one, dot two, and dot three is up. Dot one being my gateway. All right, so I want to maintain my internet access, so I'm not going to target that. And then two being myself, and then three being our target host. Okay, so I'm going to jump immediately into the Metasploit framework because, again, I want to automate the exploitation process as much as possible, so I could just jump right into post-exploitation here. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start up the PostgreSQL database, and I'm going to combine that with the step of starting up the msfconsole, and that's going to load up the Metasploit framework for me. All right. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a workspace for myself, and I'm going to give it a similar name to as I did with the workspace in my previous video. I'm gonna say workspace -a, and I'm gonna call this LinCleanUp, which is short for Linux cleanup. All right, and then I'm gonna set our target host as a global variable. So that's already pre-configured no matter what module I use here while in the Metasploit framework. So I'm going to turn that 2 to a 3. All right, and then I'm going to conduct an mmap scan here right inside of the MSF console, which again saves all of that output that's enumerated into the database, and I could query it at any time. Let's change this 2 to a 3. All right, so I'm gonna do a simple service scan, and basically this is gonna come back and let me know what ports are open and what services are running on those ports and the version of those services. So then I can try to deduce what potential vulnerabilities are present to try to exploit. So this should take a few seconds up to a minute. All right, so it looks like we have two we have with an SMB or well, since this is Linux Samba protocols or ports that are open right now. So you have both port 445 and 139 that are open, and it looked like they're running somewhere between version 3 and version 4 of the protocol. So I know off the bat know of one particular vulnerability that I can exploit here, and it's one that actually exploits the vulnerability its vulnerability to remote code execution, which is going to allow me to upload a shared library to a writable shared, then cause the server to load and execute it. I believe this may be the lib SSH vulnerability, by the way. Okay, so in order to exploit this, I have to first search for it, and I'm gonna actually write in the last part of the name of the exploitation module. So I'm gonna say is known pipe name, and this should find it. This should narrow it down quite a bit. All right, and it's actually the first one here on the list. So I'm gonna say use 0 since that is the module ID assigned to that module. And then I don't believe I have to configure anything, but it's always good to check. Let's go show options. My Our target host has already been pre-assigned here since I've set that globally, and the all port, of course, is set to port 445, which is the default port of the Samba protocol. So there's nothing left here that I need to configure. So let's just go ahead and exploit this, and I should be gaining a shell session here any moment. All right, so since this looks like a non-interactive shell, I'm going to create a bash session for myself. So I'm going to say bin bash dash I. All right, and that's to create a bash session now. So now I'm using bash. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to go to the root of the drive here. All right, because ultimately I want to be able to find out, show how to see the bash history file. All right, and then be able to move from there. All right, and now from here, I'm going to say list. All right, and then let's go to the root drive. Give me a quick second here. All right, root. All right, and then let's list everything that's in that directory. And this is where the dot bash history file is located, and that basically keeps a history of all the commands that I've used so far. So let's see if it's there. And looks like it's not. All right, so though it's not necessarily present here, there's usually a bash history file which records all the bash commands used since accessing the system. And now, if one is present, you can modify the file to erase your bash history once completing your objectives. So what I'm going to do actually here, I'm actually going to take some steps, which is actually going to create the bash file since there's none here. So in order to create that, first I'm going to say history, and that's going to show a history of all the commands that I've typed out here since entering since executing the shell. All right, so you can see where I changed the directory, listed the root directories, the root of the root directories contents, and then switch to the root, the actual root directory of root, and then listed all the contents of that, which then I did a history here. All right. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to show how we could then clear this history. So I'm gonna say history dash C, and that's going to clear out this history. All right. So if I say history again, all right, so the only thing it has it in now is history. So it's deleted all of that. The problem is that it's going to continue to record, as I go on. So, all right, so I'm going to show now. I'm gonna exit out and go back in and show down how that actual bash history file should now be present. All right, so I'm gonna say exit. All right, so that took me out of the bash shell, and then I'm gonna say exit again to fully come out of the actual non-interactive shell and bring me back to the MSF console line. All right, so I'm going to run this exploit again, and it should open up another shell session for me, and then we're going to take a look at what's going on with the history. All right, so let's start up another bash session. Then bash dash I. All right. And the next thing I want to do, let's say history. Let's see what's there now. All right. See, now it's still recorded. The last time I did history, when I exited out, and then when I did history again. All right. So let's go back to the root directory here. All right. Now let's list out everything that's in there, and let's see if that dot bash history file is there. All right, voila, here we are. All right, so the file that wasn't once there now is there after I've generated some commands, and now it's present. All right, so now that it's present, and I can show what's inside of it. Let's see what's inside. I'm gonna say cat dot bash underscore history. All right, and it's pretty much showing everything that I've done. It just looks like it's actually just showing the history and exit. So it's not showing what I've done since I've been here. Surprisingly, it's just showing basically everything I did the last time I was in here, which was running history, did history after clearing it, and then exited my shell session. All right, so let's say that I wanted to actually clear this file though. So let's say we're in this file actually does exist, all right, and I didn't have to go through everything I just went through to produce this file. All right, in order to then erase the contents on this file on our way out the system, I'm gonna say cat slash dev slash null. All right, and I'm gonna output that to tilde backslash dot bash underscore history. Again, what this is going to do is going to clear out the contents of the actual bash history file. All right. All right, so it looks like that ran. Now if I do run that cat dot bash history again, let's see what's actually in there after I've ran the command to clear it out, if I could spell it right. All right, there we go. See, nothing's in there now. All right, so that's how. Those are some ways that we can clear out history. If there isn't a bash history file present, which there usually is, but I should basically I did some commands here to show how one is produced, and then how we can just clear do a history dash clear, okay, and that's only somewhat sufficient, all right. But if we wanted to actually like clear out everything that's actually in the bash history file itself, we would run this dev null command in order to do so. All right, so not much to recap here. We've seen that I've got into the system, running the exploit against vulnerability 3.50. Of Samba, got into the system here again, showed how the history command works here in Linux, show how we could clear things using the history command, but show how that wasn't necessarily sufficient after I cleared that out, bagged out and came back in. But we also showed how those same actions actually generated the missing .bash history file. And then once that was generated, which should already be there once we initially enter the system, then we can enter in this dev null at tilde backslash dot bash history command here to clear out the actual bash history command, and clear out our footprints from that perspective. Now, you would still have to do the things that we did in the previous videos on the Windows platform. You could still clear out the um, the um, the um, the logs, which again are only really advised if you have permission to do so, or if you have visibility, know exactly what you're removing, and any of those executables that you may have uploaded in order to help you to gain access to the system, or to elevate privileges, persistence, so on and so on. Same thing. I didn't want to be redundant in this video and showing some of the same stuff. So again, all the above when it comes to when it comes to this system too, but specifically in Linux, clearing out this bash history is indeed very helpful from getting caught or being traced as far as what you were doing. It's always great to be stealthy in your actions. So please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, show your work. And until next time, take care of yourself, and God